So I've got Mike Neighbors and Eric Musselman joining me right now. And first off, congratulations to both of you for getting your teams into the NCAA tournament. How cool is it that you both have that opportunity to represent Arkansas on that level? Nabes, if you want to go first.
Yeah, as a lifelong Razorback fan and everything, it's very rare that has happened. I don't know that they've done the math on how many years it has, but to be able to have selection Sunday, we were tuned in with our brackets and pencils ready to go, and I jumped up off the couch when I saw Coach Musk jump up off his couch. So it's just, he tweeted out last week, we got a really cool thing going on in the BPC right now. And it is rare and it is special, that's for sure.
And Eric, you as well?
I mean, I think it's so neat. I love watching Coach Neighbors' team play. I know from a strategic standpoint, even I like watching them and trying to add some of the stuff that they do. He's so creative in transition with his team, and their offensive spacing is incredible. But I think the neatest thing for probably myself and all of our players is just the fact that the friendship in our building, not just amongst the coaches, but maybe even more special to see is, in the training room or in the weight room, how our team and Coach Neighbors' team, the respect and seeing those, our guys at their games and vice versa. It just doesn't happen everywhere. There's no jealousy. It's one family, and it's really cool. And again, I think it really starts with the players. I mean, it's just neat. I mean, I know all of his players' first names, and you can say hi to them, and you feel a real partnership between the two programs.
I was about to say, what's your friendship like between the two of you? Are you guys texting each other after games, being like, "Man, you should try this"?
I would never ever offer him any advice coaching wise, but anything he is willing to offer. But we go back. We used to exchange emails back when neither one of us were the coach here.
Yeah.
So there's been an acquaintance for a number of years, but I walk by the weight room and he's always in there lifting, and I'm carrying in my breakfast. A number of chats and a number of talks. There will be no ripping off of the shirt by me, I can assure you. I've not been near in the weight room as much as Coach has, but it's kind of like he's saying with our players. It's not always a given. We've both been places where the relationship can be icy, and there is jealousy, and there is. I don't want them to do well because it makes us. That's bad. That's a bad setup, and to not have that is just so refreshing. And it does help raise both of our programs to see that type of thing happening within. But I know how many messages Coach gets. I only hit him during the after losses and tough times, because that's when nobody hits us. It's thousands after a win, and it's 3 or 4 after a loss. So, which I haven't texted him in about 2 months. So quite the role. But no, it's special, just like it is with our kids.
And I know that Hunter Yurchak has been there for pretty much all of the games that you guys have played. Nabes, I think I saw a video of you two hugging after the UConn game. So what's that support system been like from him as you go through this season where you're having to adjust to a lot of different things?
Well, it's always important for the visibility for our players and for coaches as well. But this year, more so than ever, which with COVID, just the amount of information that he's given to us and the number of times he checks in, pre-game, post-game, win or lose, it is very stabilizing in a very unstable situation. So, he and I have had a couple pretty good hugs the last couple of years, and I wouldn't have put the over-under on me being able to lift him off the ground, but with a little adrenaline flowing, I've been able to get a pretty good in there. But it's very impactful, not only personally, but through our entire program, to see he and his wife Jennifer there and his family, and then with Dorita and his executive staff with Rick Thorpe and John Fagg, even the crossover with Clayton Hamilton coming to our games and Dorita going to the men's. It really is truly more than just the slogan, the one Razorback. It feels that way with all of our sports and all of our head coaches and all the executive staff.
And by the way, guys, I mean, I don't know what's in the water over there on the hill, but I don't think I've ever seen so many programs be so successful at the same time. So I think we just need to bottle it, save it for football season. And then, I mean, you've been at a lot of these games supporting all the different programs. What's it like for you to see that?
No, it's awesome. I mean, having spent, so much of my life at the professional level, that's the neatest thing about being, on a college campus is being able to support the other programs. And, I like to learn from other coaches, and you can go, watch Coach Van Horn's baseball team. And I like to watch the dugout and the enthusiasm that his players have after a big play on the field or a big hit. But I just think that the winning is incredible. It starts at the top, starts with the chancellor on down, from him to the athletic director and Hunter. And, that's how it is with whether it's a professional franchise, the owner and the GM. It's the same thing at a university level. And I will say that Coach Neighbors winning, it's really incredible, because the other day, one of our recruits I called, and his mom was watching an entire Razorback women's basketball game. I think she was evaluating whether her son should come here based on how Coach Neighbors' team was playing, which is usually a really, really good thing.
I love it.
And then also, you both have been to the NCAA tournament, but what's it like to share it with your players this year, especially everything that you guys have gone through?
Coach, go ahead. You just had it.
Well, I think with our team, there's really not many of our guys that have been to an NCAA tournament. And so I think it's special, Selection Sunday, up to this moment, it's really all we've done, along with a few practices. So I think that, you really start to feel, especially during a COVID year, you really start to feel the environment, maybe not till you get to a game. Obviously they got some March Madness gear, and, they might have really liked that, but once we hit the floor, I think is when you're really going to get the true feel of what it's like. But our guys are overly excited about the opportunity.
I know from talking to previous teams, I'll use the Final Four team, for example. None of their memories are about the actual games. Very few of them. They have some, but they're about, we took a lap around the Indianapolis 500 Speedway too, like y'all did, Coach. And we got to kiss the bricks, and we got to do all those things when we were in Indy. They talk about that stuff a lot more. The autograph sessions, which we probably won't have, but the time on the bus, the time in the hotel, which we're going to have plenty of, that's what they're going to remember. You obviously want the outcomes to be, what you hope for, but they will remember the things that you do and how you've treated them along the way, way more. So tonight will be a fun night for us. We last year were very excited about being a lock, we thought. So we're trying to get Lex on the phone from Albania so she can enjoy it, and Kiara's still here locally, just so those two kids can kind of soak in some of it, maybe through osmosis. But it is, and you can see the excitement. And you watched Coach's team last night. They spring up off their seats. You just can't help yourself. I don't care how many of those you've been to. When that name pops up there and you see it on a bracket, there is just something that makes you stand up and clap and get goosebumps. And I will be taking lots of pictures tonight, because those will be a lot of memories.
And what is probably your favorite part about playing in the NCAA tournament? I mean, I know it's not one shining moment, so we can get that out. But Mus, what would you say?
Well, if you win, that
Yeah.
would be, I mean,
That would be great.
Having been, so I was a part of 2 as a player,
Yeah.
2 as an assistant coach, and now 4 straight as a head coach. And I will say that, when you hear your name on Selection Sunday, that's one of the memories. And then the other memory is just what happens over the 40-minute game. I mean, even my freshman year playing against Princeton, I can remember almost every possession that took place. I can remember the key possessions in the game that turned the complexion of the game. And I think those are the biggest things. The preparation in the ballroom, that's stuff we've been doing all year. but the selection Sunday is something that'll stick with them for sure. As will, however, the outcome against Colgate, and if we're fortunate enough to advance, but I think the games are something that the guys will always remember.
And Coach Naves, you as well.
Yeah, very similar things, all the things Coach echoed. And then, the one thing I would add, just probably specific to us, is that there's a lot of we got Amber Ramirez is going to San Antonio. That's a cool thing for her. And Chelsea played on an AAU team that was based out of San Antonio. And, even though we won't be able to see the other teams, just walking down the hallways to and from games, knowing that you're one of 64 teams, and in our case, one of 33 teams that got an at-large bid, it's a validation. It's a resume thing. It's something that they'll have in their history that they'll be able to tell kids for a long, long time. And they'll be watching One Shining Moments, which I love, by the way, and I'm a Luther guy. So let's not we can stop all the speculation there. But they will be talking about this for a number of years, and it goes in the media guides as a tournament team, and we'll put a number up on these banners when they come back for reunions, and it's got a long-term effect, and it's a validation for all the hard things that they've done to be able to get there, to be able to experience the madness of March.
And Nabes, I know you said the other day in your press conference that there were some people you were going to call up and make sure they knew you made it to the NCAA tournament because they didn't think you could do it. So, I'm curious, do you have anyone that you were going to call up and let them know?
No, I mean, there was a lot of athletic directors when I was making the transition from the NBA to college that maybe I interviewed with or was told I didn't have college experience or didn't know how to recruit. I won't call those people, but they certainly have a bracket in front of them, and it's always extra motivation. I can name all those ADs. I won't do it right now, but like Coach Neighbor said, there is validation for your players, for your staff, and so I do think that it's something that everybody should be proud of, just to get into the tournament. Everybody wants to advance. We want to advance. Coach Neighbors wants to advance. But there is a reason why they call this March Madness, because crazy things happen. It's a one-game thing. I'm sure Coach Neighbors would feel really good if he was playing a 7-game series, as we would against people. But that's not the case. It's a 40-minute game, and they're student athletes, and they're not pros. They're young players, and so these games take on a life of their own, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. You just want your team to be as mentally prepared and physically prepared as possible.
And I think last question, it's a little off topic, but I've wanted to know this for quite a while. So a long time, I noticed that Dave Van Horn follows 2 people on Twitter, you and the baseball team. How did this happen?
I'm not really sure. I didn't know that. I'll have to ask Coach. Maybe it's because I put on a baseball uniform, last summer. That could be it. I'm probably the only coach that would want to put on a baseball uniform and walk around outside the stadium, which is what I did. And I'm going to do it again. So maybe that's why.
That's fantastic. But guys, thanks so much for your time, and I wish you both the best of luck in the tournament.
Thanks, Tara.
Thanks, Tara.